Hey y'all, it's end of the night. As you can see, it's already dark out there. I got out here at about 1:30 today. I'm trying to get these glasses on top of my head. So I decided to do the exhaust bung first and get the clips. I was actually going to weld this today. I didn't get to it. But as you can see, I cut the header part off this pipe. And I'm going to show you why. I kind of figured I was going to have to do that. I really didn't want to, but the more I looked at it, the more I knew I was going to have to. Now, you can see one of these is physically bigger around than the other. This is the TM. This is off of one of my Vortex pipes. I'll bring you over and show you. This one being dirty and stuff, and this one being clean. This one should be, you know, and you see what's going on here. There's an awful lot of slop there. Right, you see that? Now you compare that to the Vortex, and I knew this. I knew, so that's solid. That's money right there. So we're going to end up welding the Vortex header piece onto the pipe. So Rich is sick. So if Richie, if you're looking in, feel better, brother. Like I said, I talked to Kenny the other day, and he said he had he had just picked up a new Z pack. So like I said, call him and he'll run it by, drop it off in the mailbox or something. But I'm out of ivermectin. I would love to give you some, but I'm out. Like I told Kenny, me and Kenny are both looking at getting more ivermectin and HQ and fenbendazole and all the miraculous drugs we find that are curing cancer, causing, you know, I mean, good Lord. Hey, whatever. I'm not going to get into the politics of it and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. This stuff works, and I've had some and I want more. So if I get sick, I got medicine I can take. So Richie, hang in there. Hopefully Kenny has dropped it off to you and you're feeling better. I'm going to at least go ahead and try to tack this stuff on with the TIG welder. And if it's going well, I'm just going to try to weld it, Rich. I know what you're saying right now. Go for it, dude. So God bless you. Hang in there. I love you, brother. You'll be all right. You'll get through it. So we got this stuff is ready to get tacked and welded together. Then I went right to the pods and what I wanted to do with the pods. So I went ahead and made a couple templates. I can do this out of 1/8" steel. The backing, these would be backing plates. The lines on here represent where it sits on the brackets that are currently on the cart. We know they gotta go, it's gotta go, the pod has to go forward, right? So the bracket is gonna move this way, right? It's gonna move toward the back so that we get us some more clearance here. And it needs to go up and down a little bit to change it so it fits the circumference of the tire correctly. I know what Ben's saying. Just run it, Rob. No, and negative no. I'm not going to do that. Why? Because it's a bloody fashion show out there. And you know what? I'm going to walk around and point that out to everybody. Hey, look, what's with these? You just CIK everything? Just like a cookie cutter. Send it down the line. Bang them out. Bang, bang, bang. Mine looks like everyone. Oh, no, Big Daddy has changed and updated everything on his go-kart. Why stop, right? Listen, man, Chip Foose, the gas monkey guy, a gap in a door. Joe is looking in right now down here in Toledo, and he's saying, that's right, man. The gaps in the doors from the fender to the door to the core, it's got to be right. Why would you not make it right? Well, it doesn't rub anything. It's no. Well, you know what? It's not okay. Not for me. So if you ever want me to do something for you, you know I'm going to go 10/10. And that's why Johnny West, he's no different than the first body shop I worked at after auto body school, right? Yeah, I went to auto body school. Used to bang out cars right in my mom, paint them right in my mom's driveway, man, for a long time. Then I met the wife, and you know, she wanted me to be an honest guy, so I started going. I worked at some private body shops first. Then I worked at just about every dealership between 15 or 16 mile in Van Dyke in Hall Row 20 mile. So I bounced around a bit. But anyway, to the point. The first body shop I worked at after school, after body school, the guy told me, he says, man, it was after about 3 weeks of working there. I was working on a Corvette, refurbishing a beat-up old Corvette. And he brought me in his office. He says, Robert, sit down. I sit down. He says, man, first let me tell you, you do fantastic work. Man, that thing is straight as an arrow. He says, listen, I have absolutely no problem putting my shop's name on your work and sending it out the door. I said, then why am I sitting here? He says, you're the slowest SOB I've ever met. He said, perfect, dead nuts perfect, but you're not fast enough. I said, listen, I can do two things. I can do it fast, or I can do it right, but I can't do it fast and right. So if you want right, you're gonna have to be patient with me. If you want fast, you're gonna have to get somebody else in here because I can't do that. And that was I lasted about a month at my first place, and that kind of haunted me and followed me to all these dealership body shops and stuff up and down kind of automotive row there between, I mean, at least for the first 2 or 3 miles, between 19 and 17 mile on Van Dyke there. I worked at all those body shops at one point. But, and then I turned to prototypes, you know, sheet metal model making, and then, you know, into composites and into the clay model making, so I could do all of it. I could make a model. I could take a mold off it. I could make fiberglass parts. I could sand bodywork and paint the parts and send them out the door. I could do all of it. And over time, I mean, Richie's the welder because that's what he does. He's the welder. He's not the welder body man. He's not the welder painter. He's a welder. I can weld. I can do all of it. So I can't weld probably as good or as fast as Richie. But, you know, he doesn't do fiberglass as good as me either. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. But, so there you go. I mean, that you know, you bring something over and you want it done right, I'll do it right. It might take a while. I asked John West. He'll tell you it took 2 years to get that go-kart back. Sorry, John. I had to, you know, Happy New Year. I had to poke you a little bit, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. I am that I am. And that's all that I am. I'm at a sailor man. Really. So we got some templates made. We'll probably make the backing plates out of 1/8" steel because we're going to end up bolting the plates to the pod, and then say this is going to be here as we move it away. We're going to put a riv nut in the steel, and we'll bore a hole in the pod to clear the rivet nut. The same thing they got here is the rivet nut, right? Threaded insert, whatever you want to call it. And then what we'll do is when we get this connected to the pod, and we've already marked it, when we get the pod where we want, we mark our metal pieces. Then we'll take them off. We'll drill. We'll put our riv nuts in. Well, first we'll drill, and then we'll transfer the hole onto the plastic and cut and run a drill bit through there to relieve it. But what we'll do from there is once the metal is bolted down with a riv nut in it, and we know where it's going to go, when we put it up on here, we'll run a piece of metal behind the bracket here as well, and go into the bolt here. That goes into the pod, and also in through the bolt, the bolt that goes in through. So we're going to be sandwiching it around here and bolting it all to the pod at the same time. You follow me? Did you follow me there? That just adds a little. Do I need to do it? No. It's a pod. You get hit, that pod's coming out. It's going to fly right off of there anyway. It had one metric bolt and a rivet nut in a piece of plastic. You know, you hit them, they get ripped right off of there. I mean, once they get hit, they're junk. You got to replace them, right? So I'm beefing this thing up. Why? Some RPM. That's what we do. That's what we do here. So there you go. Tomorrow we'll get out here and decide if we're going to use the 090, this is 6003 T6 aluminum. We've got some nice stuff in here. We have some little bit thicker stuff here, some 1/8 inch aluminum we could use, which is more than strong enough. We also got steel. If we wanted to use steel, we can use steel. We could even make the little strips, the backing pieces, out of steel as well. This is 1/8 inch steel too. We don't want to go too heavy with everything. Oops. We don't want to go too heavy with everything, but at the same time, we don't want the aluminum giving and bending and our pods moving and shaking and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I'll sleep on it. We'll see what we got to do. Hey to my buddies down in Columbia, South Carolina, Chris and Jimmy Clark, former go-kart guys, always been big into drag racing. Their dad started them working as kids in their auto body shop right downtown Columbia, South Carolina. Dad is retired, moved on. The boys took over. Chris has a pro street Vega with a motor that's bigger than the car. His kids are both racing. They started in junior dragsters. Now they're in something like teenager dragsters. They're not full blown, but he spends a lot of money on that stuff. We're sending Chris a box. We got we finally dug up the Yamaha motor mount that came on that vintage cart that we bought and refurbished, right? When I got it, it had a third bearing support on an Enduro. It didn't make any sense to me, but I took that stuff off. Chris said he's buying an old dirt track car, circle track cart, and just wants to take his kids out just for something to do instead of buying dirt bikes. They're just going to throw this go-kart on a track down here. South Carolina, there's a dirt track on every corner, just like, up here where there's a church on every corner. And they just want to play. So I told them, listen, if I can find it, I'll put it in a box and I'll mail it to you. You can have it because it's beat up anyway. So we're going to get that sent off to Columbia tomorrow morning. Got some running around to do in the AM, but we do want to get a lot of this stuff on the list. A lot of this stuff is going to be done and on the cart, man. We'll get the welding done, pipe done and on. We really didn't want to put fuel in this tank until we have to, so we may just pull this line back off or take it off of here and just run it into a fuel jug and see if we can get this thing running once we get the pipe, all done up the way we want it, because inevitably, like I told you before, I think it's going to leak. I'm sorry, Rich. I know it doesn't make you feel any better, but if it's going to leak, we want it to leak now. The problem is, once you see oil seeping through it, that's right, Rich, it's going to be a disaster to try to fix. I've done this to him before. Chase his tail around 5-6 times welding on a pipe. Radiators, too. He hates welding radiators, too. Godspeed, God bless. Hang in there, y'all. I am praying for you. And you know why? Because Jesus is coming, and I don't want y'all to miss the boat, or the bus, or the rocket. We'll talk to y'all later. Hang in there. It'll get better. I'm having a good time.